Global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news. Stay tuned. Hello guys, welcome to Global Happenings. Today we have a trending news here for you. And the headline of the news reads, Presidency named those behind the booing of the president in Maiduguri. But before we go on with details of the news and further analysis, we'd like to encourage you to please subscribe to our channel by clicking on the red subscribe button and also on the bell icon so that you can get notification anytime we publish videos on YouTube. All right, let's look at the news in detail. The presidency has accused opposition politicians of paying miscreants to boo the presidential motorcade in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, on Wednesday. Senior Special Assistant to the Presidency on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, made allegation in an interview with the House of Service of the BBC monitored on Thursday. Resident of Maiduguri had on Wednesday booed the motorcade of the President, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, during his condolence visit to the state over the killing of over 30 travelers at Ondo Park. Shehu said, I was part of the delegation that entered Maiduguri right from the airport to the palace of Shehu of Borno. The people came out to say thank you and welcome us. But there was a group which came out shouting, we don't want. He said maybe some politicians gathered some miscreants and paid them money to boo Buhari. The presidential aide said whoever recorded the booing incident and shared it on social media didn't do justice to the people of Borno State, whom he said had a reputation for welcoming guests. She also said it was not possible to satisfy everyone since no human being was God, especially in a city like Maiduguri, which has a population of 4 to 5 million people. He noted that the regime of the president has demonstrated the capacity to fight Boko Haram and has promised to change strategy in dealing with what he described as a new problem. All right, that's the news, and for me, this is really funny, saying that Nigerians, these guys were paid by a certain group of persons and pointing fingers at the opposition party, opposition politicians, that they are behind what happened in Maiduguri. Well, first of all, before we start drawing conclusions or before we start saying things about this particular issue, it's important to note that, number one, the people of Borno State have suffered greatly in the hands of Boko Haram. It's not something that is just starting fairly recently. During the time, if you check our feed, you see one or two videos that we did about the northern youths and even the northern elders, and their own position was that the reason why they are currently castigating the presidency was the fact that they gave him their mandate in 2015, owing to the fact that when Jonathan was on board, it seems that the level of insecurity overpowered him because he did not have the wherewithal. He wasn't a professional in handling security issues, and for that reason, they believed that by the time they give it to not just a brother, but also one who had been a specialty or who has been specializing in combating insecurity, that he was going to do far better than Buhari. But they registered their displeasure. That unfortunately, he has not done what they expected, and they went as far as saying that he shouldn't turn Nigeria to Somalia because what is currently happening is quite unbearable. They do not want to lose their ancestral lands again to these Boko Haram. It was first of all said by the Northern Elders Forum, Angu Abdullahi, and Shehu Femi Adesina came on board and said, well, that they have always stuck Angu Abdullahi as a general without a troop, and that he's just a one-man army. He doesn't, what he calls a group is actually not a group, that he's just ranting. the Northern Youth also jump on. I'm talking about Northern Youth Coalition. They also came on board and also gave a statement about how bad they feel, and they even demanded that the president should humbly resign, that he is worse than Jonathan. So all of that is a pointer to it points to the fact that these guys are not happy with what is currently going on. Yeah, we know that President Muhammadu Buhari, he cannot do everything as expected because of some shortcomings and all of that. But at the same time, it's important for us to understand that insecurity and corruption had been some had been the high point of his campaign. During the time he was campaigning, he told Nigerians to give him the next 4 years that he's going to combat the issue of insecurity, the issue of insurgents, the issue of kidnapping, the issue of banditry, especially in the northeast. But unfortunately, it's escalating. You can imagine what just happened in the capital when he left. Boko Haram came again. The papers have it that they came again and ravaged the environment, shooting sporadically, and the people run into hiding. So that's just to show you that, hey, whether the president has visited you guys to condole with you guys, it doesn't mean anything. We are in charge of this environment. And I think that something must be done. Giving excuses and pointing fingers at the opposition party doesn't make any sense. Remember, the opposition was there, and everybody was saying the opposition wasn't good enough because they didn't do enough to combat insecurity. They left and gave APC the chance. APC came in and even made Nigerians to understand that if they don't perform, I could still remember one of his high points, when he was campaigning, he said, if we give them the next 4 years and they don't perform superlatively, then Nigerians should stone them. So what I was trying to say, what the people did there, it wasn't a paid thing. Even any sane person who, wherever you are, and you see that kind of thing happening to your own people, watching your own people being killed, like the Northern Youth said, he said the painful part was that most of those involved in this whole thing were youths. Some of them have died, that they have not only lose people in terms of that's ordinary people, they've given up. Soldiers have died, youthful soldiers have died. They have watched youthful, very young businessmen dying because of the level of terrorism going on in the southeast. And with that, it's enough for anyone to boo you because, hey, you're not doing what we expected you to do. We gave you a second chance. Once bitten, twice, it's a different thing. If you are once bitten, one can say, well, it's just that he didn't get prepared so well. But when you are beaten twice, automatically is an affirmation. That's why in that's Ango Abdullahi clearly said that it's very glaring. We've given you up to 5 years now. And the way things are going in terms of security, it clearly means that the current government lacks the willpower to make decisive decisions to quell the level of insecurity in Nigeria. That's what the guy was saying. And it's absolutely true. So Gaba coming up now to tell Nigerians that actually is this, so is that. To me, is storytelling. You're only telling story, guy. Go and do the right thing and stop telling Nigerian story. We are tired of the storytelling. Those guys, they have lost so many reasonable people. They have lost so much in terms of their infrastructure, in terms of their buildings. Some of them have lost even as much as their ancestral lands. Some of them, their buildings have been set on fire. Some of them can't even set their feet in their own villages. I shared a story where I ran into someone in a Hausa man in the south, and as we were interacting, he said something very touching. That, hey, this is one of the things he never expected to do at this age. And I was like, why? You're trading, so what's bad about that? He said, well, he was a reputable man. He had his own acres of land which he used for farming, but by the time Boko Haram ventured in, everything was destroyed. He had to run for his dear life. Him and his children, they had to escape for their dear life, and now they're finding themselves in the south just to make sure that they put their life together, that they believe that there's a future for them. Imagine, this is not just he's not the only person. There are several of them, and that's why if you go around Nigeria, you will notice that a portion of the areas given to the houses, whether you go to the south, whether you go to the southeast, you realize that they are increasing. They are not increasing because this side is more productive than the north. No, absolutely no. They are not increasing because of that. They are increasing because they see the southeast, the south, and even the southwest as a safe haven for them. They believe that if they stay there, they would at least continue with their trading. A lot of them are very hardworking, They work very hard. You can see somebody going out to sell this carrot and, cabbage and the likes, and you see them spending the whole day outside pushing wheelbarrows to make sure they earn a living. And this is an indication that they would have loved to do it in their own town, but hey, it seems as if they don't have a town. So there is nobody that will be happy to find himself that he doesn't have a town, and you expect him to shut his mouth and tell you, welcome sir. Enough of storytelling. You have told all this story for as long as now. We are in need of results. We want to see ourselves, get to a level whereby we can claim back our life, our lands from these insurgents. I just heard that the Senate, the lawmakers have demanded that the army should put their stage a stopover at the park where the killing of those 30 traders took place. Man, whatever that must be done speedily, because Nigerians, truly, if I must tell you the truth, they are running out of patience, and it wouldn't be funny in the next 1 or 3 or 4 or 5, 10 months. We still keep saying this. It therefore means half of the country would have entered into the hands of these terrorists. Well, that's where we're going to leave it. Go to our comment section. Let us into that. What's your position about what is currently happening in the